Are you gonna play? I'm just getting a wave of energy through the call.
Welcome back, everybody, to the RSC. We have our grand final of the Challenger Players up next. Nezuko Gang versus Spark. And just to my right, or my left on your screen, you will see a beautiful man wearing a very nice jumper called Mr. Blue Wolf. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad. How about you?
I am ecstatic, full of energy, pumped full of G Fuel as always. And we've got one hell of an exciting game ahead of us. We've just seen Spark be knocked down to lose back by Nezuko Gang. Spark then floored Astro to face them off again in the finals. And I mean, when they faced each other in the first time, reverse sweep, Nezuko Gang claiming that. This game's a bit of a grudge match, I feel.
Well, it's always interesting to see teams play each other. It's interesting to see, does the sort of meta-narrative of the matchup continue again, or is this just going to be a completely different story? I think Spark, they'll be looking to try and right the wrongs of the previous game. You know, losing in game number 5 isn't what you'd want for anyone. And that really, they've got a lot of unfinished business here with the Nezuko Gang.
Yeah, they definitely do. Nezuko Gang, they are first place in the league for a reason. You know, they clutch up. They're ice cold, and plus they have the big man himself, Arkham, behind them, coaching them. So, you know, I heard then there's the rumor going around that he had a few wise words after the game too. You know, snap those boys into shape. Yeah, this Spark side, and I made the bold statement when they were playing Astro, I think the Spark side have the best attack in Challenger League. I genuinely think that. What falters them is their defense. And so, in my mind, Spark really need to touch up their defense to in order to bring back Nezuko Gang, in order to counter Nezuko Gang's players. So, play style. So it's going to be interesting. But I really would quite like to have a look at the stats before we get into this, just to see how these two teams pip up once again against each other. And Blue Wolf, what do you feel? I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the stream. I hope you've been watching this stream. It's been some cracking games. But looking at these stats here, what are the biggest things for you that stand out?
Well, I know it's very interesting that you say, you think Spark have the best offense. It's interesting that the stats don't really play that out. Goals for, if you have a look, Nezuko Gang on 278, just 223 for Spark. Of course, stats don't tell you the whole story. Maybe Spark have been going up against some rock-solid defenses. They've actually conceded 1 fewer goals. But, 1 fewer goals, it doesn't really matter. So the team's fairly evenly matched on the defense. I quickly want to, if we can, cycle over to the player stats, because there's one player I really want to look at, and he had a very big number beside his name that stuck out to me, and that is going to be Minty on Nezuko Gang. 82 games, 110 goals. That's pretty crazy. I haven't seen him play before. Is he as crazy as that stat line suggests?
He is nutty, but I hate to shock you, Blue Wolf. So hold onto your hat. But the player who has been fragging out when Spark and Nezuko Gang met up last was Woozy Panda. This man hit an aerial bumper and he scored 4 goals in game 5. When I'm saying Woozy Panda is the real deal, this man's the real deal.
Well, he's not got a bad stat line either. He's sort of sitting in Minty's shadow, but his stats are looking pretty great as well. As I'm not sure what the players are doing on the server. A little bit distracting seeing people phase in and out of existence as we will be getting into this game number 1. Nezuko Gang, they will be in the blue corner, Spark in the orange.
Spark in the orange versus the blue. I mean, it's the classic Rocket League setup, and we are underway. And this is feeling reminiscing between what we saw last. But Pyro now putting the pressure on once again. Eevee tried to play it off the backboard, and definitely Spark wanting to utilize their defense in a better, more constructive manner than they did last time these two teams faced. As Dispatcher gets a nice clearance in that halfway line, just going to follow it up once again, maybe looking for the pass into the center, but nobody is there. As Panda gets a really good clearance indeed. Panda going up early, play off the backboard once again. Unfortunately, Pyro not getting the angle that he wanted, not able to put a shot on, leaving Dispatcher with an opportunity to clear the ball. We see Eevee passing back to Dispatcher. Dispatcher going for a fake. He gets it out of one, and he scores another. Dispatcher, You're a madman!
I've seen Despacio play before, not in this league, but I know he can do things like that. He flip fakes one, flips the ball, pass two, and he's found the opening goal of this series. Spark, they're out for revenge, and they're looking on the warpath here.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, Blue, we've seen clips before, but that was a clip in the playoff grand finals. Oh my!
Perfect way to start things off. We couldn't be any more hype here, as that's a good save from Pyro as well. Turns the ball away. Minty looks to set an offense start. There is no one up there with it though. Despacio's flick on for himself comes to fruition. That's a flick from Evie. That's slightly wide of the net. He looks like he might have another chance here, but Minty able to turn that one away. Evie's demo is not really going to help them out too much as they are stuck on the defense. Despacio, he's been the man who's everywhere at the moment. Makes the first save for Spark here.
Brilliant plays from Despacio. This man leading by example right now as Pyro trying to put some pressure on. Evie cutting nice and early in that midfield. Able to play it back to himself, decides to pop it off the backboard. Despacio almost following up with a second touch. Axel does well to pass it back to Despacio, who sets it down for Evie, puts a shot onto goal, but just saved by Minty. What a fresh save indeed. And now the Spark side need to be wary of the rotations, and they're doing exactly that. Despacio being so dominant in the midfield, giving his teammates space to work with, but here we see Nezuko fast on the counter-attack. We know what these guys can do. Again, they place first in the league. After all, they can be lethal. But right now, as I'm talking, they do exactly that. The man who top scored in the last time these two teams met, Panda, scoring the first goal for Nezuko Gang, tying the game up 1-1.
Well, it makes perfect sense. You told me he was good in the previous game between these two sides, and he's looking to start this one strong as well. He's opened his account with the first goal scored by the Nezuko Gang. They're the team that like to front-run games. They front-ran the league for so long. They were behind for a little while here, but they're looking to try and remedy that. Instead, it's Despacio on the offense. The flick on, unable to be found by Evie. Instead, Panda's going to try and take this one away and try and take the lead here, in fact, from Nezuko Gang. He has been thwarted, though. Here comes Minty, looking to open his account, unable to do so, and they might be a little bit short-staffed at the back here.
You see Evie playing off the backboard once again. Axel went flying across our screens, not able to capitalize on the shot. Has left Despacio as third man on his own for a bit. But the Minty, bit slow on the attack right there. We really want to see this Nezuko Gang pick up the pace a little because of how fast Spark like to play. However, Minty getting a nice touch away in that corner. Does pop it straight to Axel, who pops it high for Despacio. Maybe looking for a double touch. He's going for it. He's going to get it. No, as Panda reads that beautifully. Brilliant job for them. And right here, we see his counter attack. Can Panda get there in time? Yes, he can. But unfortunately, Axel with a clutch save. Brilliant rotations coming out of the side of Spark, and Panda having to make another side on the opposite side this time. Back and forth, Rocket League.
Yeah, both these teams have come out swinging. They want to have their hands on that virtual trophy, and it feels like it could really be either of them, as both of them have had their fair share of attacks. The shots split 6-5 in favour of Spark, but just a one-shot difference. That could have been a good one there from Panda had he made it work. Still waiting to see Minty really get into the game. With his rap sheet like his, we're certainly hyped to see him get into this one.
100%, 100%. You can see Evie now getting a touch in the centre, just to knock forward, trying to keep, keeping the Nezuko Gang uncomfortable right now. And just at the start of this game, it's been, only a minute remaining. Both these teams look incredibly strong, but Spark, I feel, they're in control. Do you agree?
Yeah, it feels that way. Things have shifted considerably. Back and forth, but at the moment we seem to be sitting in the middle of a Spark period. Despacio, the man leading the line. Bit of help as well from Evie on the offense, whereas Axel seems to be the man who's the defensive rock at the moment. They're looking to start another attack. Flicked in towards Panda, who's able to scramble that one away. Tries to set up Minty and does. Minty unable to turn the ball past another defending player. Could set up Pyro here. I think he's been the quietest player on the server, looking for his big moment. That's an offensive double commit. Could leave them short-staffed at the back, and it might just as the ball is hit high into the sky. Another miss from a defending player. That one was Panda. Minty might save him here with the offensive hit forward. Here comes Minty, shot blocked on the line though.
Unfortunate scenario for Minty, almost getting that goal, and now the counter-attack coming out of Spark. Brilliant passing play attempt, however, nothing coming to fruition. It looks like we're going to have an overtime here as Evie knocks it high and forward. Axel is there waiting, looking for that redirect. Can he get it? Woozy Panda is there. Just play it off his own backboard. Axel's trying to follow it up with a shot, but it's just short monka ass indeed. Sato in the chat. Love to see you here as we see the first overtime of our first game in this grand finals. What a better way to have it, Blue Wolf.
Well, it might be over already. Minty's shot saved by Axel keeps things going, and look like they might not have been able to get out of their own box there. Dispatchio looking to start an attack, and Spark, they were the team front running in regulation. That might have completely flipped now. They seem to be the team that's stuck on the defensive as Pyro tries to lead in his first shot. Another epic save for Axel to add to the pile. He's looking great defensively, and if he can keep that going, it feels inevitable that Spark, they will find a winner here.
They definitely do, and we have seen Spark clutch up, I believe, 2 overtimes so far this evening. Definitely have ice running through their veins as the shot goes flying forward, does hit the backboard. Pyro not able to get a touch on it, and this is where Spark like to be, on the front foot. However, 2 players, Dispatcho and Evie, deciding to rotate back instead of push forward. However, they have once again got ball control. Evie have got 0 boost, so just decides to pop it forward, maybe looking for his teammate to come and support him. However, nothing comes of it. Axel looking for a crossfield pass over to Dispatcher, who does get it, pops it off the sidewall, but Minty doing a really good job of getting that 50 in the center. Evie trying to follow it up once again, and the pressure building from Spark. You know that these guys like it. You know these guys want to make the Nezuko gang feel uncomfortable as the shot comes in from Dispatcher, but just off the crossbar. This is so close. This could go any which way.
I feel like the number one way to make someone uncomfortable is to stick the ball in their net in overtime. That was almost done there by Dispatchio. Good offensive work by him, but at the moment it is really back and forth stuff. Dispatchio looks like the main man on one side, Panda on the other. They look like the 2 live wires. They're the players that could find the goals. The other 4, though, they could easily find one. That's a flick on from Dispatchio, unable to be found there, and we've got 2 minutes gone in this overtime. Really could go either way.
It really, really can. And Axel has gone up there looking for the pass over to Evie. Evie does a smart play, decides to play it into the corner where Dispatcher has gone up late and actually comes away ahead with that aerial. Good job from him. Axel passes down to Evie. Evie trying to get a touch off the backboard. He does so. Dispatcher's gone really early. He's going to be out Pyro to the ball. However, does not have the angle for the shot. It's going to open up opportunity for Minty to counter-attack here. Can Minty do anything? But no, the speed from Evie and the double touch from Evie to save that. Brilliant job from him, and Dispatcho booming it downfield. Evie is there, but cannot get the redirect. Oh my word, this is back and forward. As Panda now trying to put it forward. I mean, what's going to break these 2 defenses? I don't know, but as I'm talking, it's exactly that. Evie being in the right place, the right time, slots it into the back of the net.
Well, I think you've just answered your own question there pretty quickly. The defense is broken by Evie, hitting the ball across the box. He beats Pyro on the line. Easy tap in on the left corner for Evie, and I think we're going to have a restart of game here, which gives us plenty of time to unpack what we just saw in game number 1.
I could not agree more. Beautiful plays from both sides, and we have the stats of that game on the screen right there. We see a huge amount of shots coming out of Spark, something we're kind of getting used to here. It's 11 shots from them compared to the 8 shots from Nezuko. Again, we know how comfortable and we know how much Spark enjoys being on that front foot and making the opposition uncomfortable. However, on the flip side, the saves coming out from Nezuko gang were palpable. We saw every single member of Nezuko gang making clutch saves when they need to, but in my mind right now, the player who really needs to step, it needs to be Minty. You know, we spoke about him prior to this series. We thought that, you know, he's going to be the player to pull off incredible stuff, but he's just been quiet. I feel like if Minty steps up for Nezuko gang, Spark's going to have a really hard time.
Yeah, I feel like that's a completely fair interpretation. Minty was the man with the most intimidating stats on the server, I think, because he's got over 100 goals, he's not added to that tally yet. Feels like that could change in game number 2. I'd be shocked if he didn't score a single goal across this series. Feels like a matter of when, not if, that they find another goal. But I guess the question has to be, do you think this will be continuing the way it is, or do you think one team will pull ahead? Sorry. The question I was actually thinking of, it just completely slipped my mind, but do you think Nezuko, do you think they may be a little bit complacent? They think they might have one hand on the trophy. They might just think, oh yeah, this is Spark. We beat them earlier. We can just beat them again. This has definitely been a wake-up call for them in game number 1.
I do agree. I think that there is a level of complacency. However, you know, last time these guys faced, Spark did exactly this. They clutched up at the end of the first game. They took the second game, and then they got reverse swept by Nezuko gang. So It's difficult. I think if Spark take the first series and reset the bracket, I think Spark will win it. However, if Nezuko, but however, obviously Zukagan can take the first series and win it overall, and so it comes down to, in my mind, Nezuko Gang adapting to what Spark has done, like they did in the first time they met up in the winners bracket. But then Spark then counter adapting Nezuko Gang and making sure they aren't making those defensive errors and defensive rotational mistakes like which lost them that earlier game. So this is a real toss-up. In my mind right now, Spark look most comfortable on the field, but that can change in an instant.
Yeah, and I think it very easily could change in an instant, as we will be waiting for one more player to join the server, and then we'll be getting right back into the action. I'm just desperate to see how this one develops. It was a tug of war in game number one. It'd be interesting to see if one team starts to establish maybe a little bit of dominance over the other. It could really be either of them. Nezuko Gang, complacency is the question, whereas with Spark, the question is can they keep front running this game? We did not expect them to do so. They might well. It's game number 2 will be beginning right about now. Would you think this is going to be a repeat of game number 1, or do you think one side will sort of catch themselves on and just get going?
I think it could definitely be a momentum shift here. I think one team really has the potential to run away with it. Which side? I don't know. If I was forced to pick, I'd probably say Spark. And I think that if a team can find momentum in the second game, it could be lights out. It could well be lights out. These two teams have faced up so many times throughout this league. They know each other inside and out, and so you really have to bring your A game. As Axel goes for a shot early on, and he scores one from like a sniper's angle. Nicely done indeed. But yeah, this game between these two teams, it's all down to momentum.
Yeah, 2 players sitting in the net. They just had to sit and watch as that perfectly placed shot flies past them both into the top left corner, and that's the perfect start. We saw Dispatchio was really the main man on the offense. If they get Axel online as well, this could be a pretty threatening prospect for the Nezuko Gang, as they are currently 1-0 down. They were 1-0 down last time after about a similar amount of time, so they will have faith in themselves that they'll be able to get a goal back here, as Minty looks like he'll be the man to try and push forward and get it. That's a awkward ceiling bounce. That's good thinking by Eevee to demo Pyro, who was the ground player. Denies any attack from that.
Good job, and we've seen Spark do this against Nezuko Gang. They like the demos. They like to, put players onto respawn, which opens them up so much space. Pyro now flying forward, trying to get some pressure onto the Spark side, but really shut down quite quickly by the players on Spark. Eevee going off the backboard, maybe looking for a pass, but Panda's a really good job coming off his own backboard and getting that touch away. Axel, last player back. Pyro were not the best to touch this. However, it does allow Panda to get a touch off the backboard, maybe trying to follow it up. The ball is bouncing in front of the goal. Eevee almost scoring an own goal in his own net. Not something you want to be doing in the grand finals, as Pyro is there, puts a shot on, but it's just wide. So Nezuko really trying to pile the pressure up. They do not like being 1-0 down.
Yeah, that's the thing about grand finals. Any mistake feels 10 times worse, and Eevee almost dropped the clanger there. He's going to atone with that offensive pass. It is going to be hit by Dispatchio well over the bar, though. Eevee trying to start another attack. He seems to be the man who sets up the attack, the man in the engine room getting that attack working. Axel's on the defense, and Dispatchio, I feel like he's that live wire offensive player. I feel like that's my interpretation of how Spark side seems to be working, and it's working perfectly for them so far.
Yeah, it really is, and those rotations, as you aforementioned, though, they are the key to keeping Spark alive against Nezuko Gang side, because Nezuko Gang, they are polished. They like to play precise, calculated Rocket League. Compared to, I'd say Spark's more, flamboyant style. And as we see Eevee now trying to do exactly what you said, set it up as Axel gets a really lovely redirect. Dispatchio's gone up early, but Panda with a brilliant touch, and Pyro, little bit late on rotations, actually pays off for him. And able to slot one in, and it looked like a goal from Spark. However, the flip straight onto its head, allowing the ball just gently, find its way into the goal. Very nice.
Well, it feels like what you just said came to pass completely. We saw the flamboyant aerials of Spark, followed by just the calm slotting into an empty net of Pyro, and that sees us leveled up yet again, 1-1 in the series. First goal scored by Spark, pegged back by Nezuko Gang. This time Nezuko Gang, they'll be hoping that they don't concede the second, as they will try and attack here. Pyro gets the touch, but that's a shot from Panda. He's got it, and that's a bit of a miss from the defensive player up in the air, but Panda's not going to care. He's going to run away with his second goal of the series.
A really nice finish from him. It was actually quite a difficult angle for Dispatchu. He had to work really quickly, and I don't think he had enough time to react properly. So, in a matter of seconds, Blue Ball, this game has gone from being completely into Spark's hands, turned on its head, and now Nezuko Gang back in control. Axel pops it high. Dispatcher has gone up there, but does miss the touch. Is that going to be a bit too much of an error? Fortunately, Axel was there to recover it. Minty going off the sidewall, trying to do a bit of an aerial play, but the speed from Eevee is being demonic against what he wants to do. The shot going forward. Axel has to make a nice touch here, and he does so. Panda is left with an awkward positioning, allowing Eevee to rotate to back onto his own backboard. Pyro popping up forwards, and right now Nezuko Gang, they look in control as almost an own goal goes in right there, and that's this defense from Spark. I told you about, we spoke about it prior to this series. It seems to be a bit lackluster, especially when it's frantic.
Well, it was certainly frantic there. Players flying left, right, and centre. Eevee on the backboard drops into the net, unable to deny the shot. Panda making sure that one goes in. I'm not sure whether it was from Minty or not, but kind of bad in a way that Panda was the one to score that, because Minty, we talked about him being a little bit missing. He's come back now though and scored what is the fourth goal, and I think that might just be that in game number 2 for Nikuzo.
Definitely could be, you know, but we've seen what Spark can do. We saw them do it. They saw them clutch up. We see them bring back these leads, you know, these deficits. And so I wouldn't count it out. It's 1:13 left. Anything can happen. You know, if it was 30 seconds, I'd be leaning to agree with you a little bit more. However, on the Spark side, they are full of fire. Pardon the pun.
Pun is definitely pardoned. I love a bit of punnery as Nezuko, they're on the defense again, trying to hold on a little bit longer. They've done so successfully for the last 30 seconds. It'd be a shame for them to let this lead slip away. Dispatcho, he'd be the key man to watch if it does end up slipping away. Instead, they're on the attack. Attack is the best defense for them. Keep that ball in the corner. Panda looks to just add to their tally. He's unable to do so. Eevee with a chance to shoot. He's got the ball up in the air nicely. Good interception by Minty. And Panda gets the demo, but doesn't get the ball. It's 25 seconds. Is it enough time, do you think, for...
I think it is. You know, as much as I love Spark and we've seen how good they are on attack, I think what Nezuko Gang have done is they've taken their playstyle, which is being calculated, and they've sped it up a little bit. The decision making the decisions they're making are much faster than micro and macro decisions are really playing dividends, and that is just, you know, shutting down this Spark side, and they're also really capitalizing on their opportunities as Axel gets a goal right as the clock ticks 0. However, that is not going to be enough. Nezuko will take this second game, tying the series 1-1. And Blue, I don't know if you agree. I've always been a big believer that if a team scores right at the end of a loss in a series, that can almost be a bit of a momentum boost heading into the following game.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. Axel had a decent performance there, scored 2 goals. He didn't seem to be that much of an offensive player across the first 2 games. That's definitely changed in game number 3 as he was the only man to find the net. Dispatcho unable to find anything, and it looks like we might have a bit of a substitution here. Nope, Eevee's just left and rejoined, so it looks like we'll be getting into game number 4 with a 2-0 lead to Nezuko Gang.
Nezuko Gang. The series, I believe, is tied 1-1, and this is going to be...
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
I mean, actually, okay, it's tied 1-1, and I'm going to put you on the spot, Blue. Right? I hate to do this to you, but I love to do this to you. I want you to predict the score for this series. Tell me what you think.
For the series, it's going to be harder, but I just think Nezuko Gang, they've beaten them before. I think they'll beat them again. I'm going to go for... I'll just go 7-game series. You know, I'll be nice to both teams. Say 4-3 to Nezuko, but I might have to eat my words there as Dispatcho up with the shot. Unable to get it though. Here comes Panda with a chance to shoot. Eevee intercepts just about, and the ball is cleared away by Pyro before they get an offensive chance. Axel with the flick on, bounces off the corner. Dispatcho's in. He scored an early goal for what is the second game of the 3 that he's found an early goal in.
A really, really lovely finish from Dispatcher and a brilliant angle as well. And, you know, you were saying it, Dispatcher, he's the man to watch. If you are popping off, if he is popping off, then he's going to find the back of the net. And a bit of a fake kickoff coming out from the Nezuko gang, making sure they have possession. They know that they do not want to give Spark any room to do anything. As an early shot goes on to the back of the net, Dispatcher gets a demo onto Uzi Panda, who's able to make that save. Axel is there to follow it up. However, Pyro, clean rotation, going to mitigate any sort of risk of goal as he's flying down the wing, and Evie able to get a touch. Dispatcher speed and able to shut down the attack, but not able to follow it up once again. Leaving Minty now with the counter attack, and Lizzie going to put it into the back of the net. No, he isn't. Axel with a brilliant double save, going to stop that from happening. So right now it is the third game of the series. The series is tied. Spark up 1-0, and I'm joined by the man, the myth legend, Mr. Bluewolf on the casting desk. We see Dispatcher trying to put on shot on goal, but Pyro getting a nice touch indeed. And right now, I genuinely feel who's going to get the midfield control. That's going to really pay huge dividends in who's going to come over this victory. As a shot goes on from Minty. I mean, finally he's awake.
Yeah, he seemed like the invisible man a little bit on the offense, but he has the perfect chance for a shot there, and he delivers perfectly. The player stuck in the net was Evie, forced to watch that one go sailing by, and once again, it's happened so many times, the lead has evaporated here. The 1-goal lead pegged back could be re-established here as Panda goes flying across the net. The pre-jump pays off, and with 3.5 minutes here, it looks like the Nezuko gang, they could start grinding out another victory here.
They definitely could, and it's going to be a grind for both of these teams if they want to come out ahead. And it's been a hell of a lot of Rocket League today so far. So both, you know, all of these players could be starting to get a bit mentally fatigued, you know. And that's definitely a factor that is going to start playing a little bit of dividends as these games progress. As Panda trying to put some pressure on, gets a great 50 with Dispatcho, leaving Evie with an awkward touch, and Minty bumps Evie away as well. Pyro now with an opportunity to keep the ball going forward, plays it off the corner. How that Axel does a really good job of rotating back and cutting out that pass as he flicks it up for Dispatcher, who jumps nice and early, trying to get a shot onto goal, but just wider. And we see Pyro, brilliant flicks, and he gets it into the back of the net. A beautiful counter attack by that man, Pyro.
Well, my heart was in my mouth a little bit when he looked like he was going to hit that ball over. It hits the crossbar and just about goes in, and that's the second time this series we've seen Pyro on the breakaway putting that ball in the net. He says, oh, in the chat, he wasn't expecting that chance to be handed to him on a silver platter the way it was. And at the moment, this game 3 looks to be handed to Nezuko gang on a silver platter, unless we see a bit of a turnaround. We need to see the Spark Troops rally here to try and save this grand final.
100%, and it's scary. I feel a bit reminiscent from how the last time these guys met, you know. Spark coming out really hot, but then the Nezuko gang just finding their form, shutting down Spark completely in every element. And Evie now going off, trying to maybe look for that fake, but actually, once again, Minty's presence on the backboard is now becoming far more apparent, and that's going to really disrupt the way that Spark are playing. They like the buoyancy off the backboard. They like to put the pressure there. However, Minty is just mitigating that so well. However, does miss that the flip toucher. Not too much of a big deal for his side. Is Evie getting a nice 50-50 in the center, trying to push it forward just a little bit. Means they're getting an awkward bit of a touch. Does pass it back. However, neither of the players were ready for that touch. Axel trying to do a good job of reading it as the third man, but gets demoed for his efforts. A shot goes flying forward off the uprights, and Dispatcher not able to capitalize on it, nor is Evie. It's Minty again. He may not be scoring as many goals as we're used to him scoring, but he is making defensive plays.
Minty's trying to reinvent himself in a grand final. It's very bold, but at the moment it's working, showing up defensively, and Pyro seems to be the man who's switched. Pyro's become the offensive player when usually he's more of a defensive one, setting up the other two players. Panda and Minty are such a lethal combination. You just need that engine room player just to keep them both ticking over, but Pyro seems to be the man who's hitting the ball into the net at the moment.
And that's exactly what you need to do to win a game of Rocket League. Get that ball into the opposition's net and keep it away from yours. And Nezuko are just doing it better. And look at that save from Pyro. Unbelievable attempt from him, keeping away from that top corner. And Spark are throwing everything they have at the Nezuko gang just to try and keep in this game. But the clearance goal once again coming out of Minty is going to put this lead I think just out of reach.
Well, if you're throwing everything on the kitchen sink at your opponent's net, it's going to be hard to make yourself a glass of water. And at the moment, that seems to be the problem, as it's 3-1. The Nezuko gang, they're taking the lead firmly in this game. And with 25 seconds on the clock, it's going to have to be a severely late show if we see anything of a comeback here from the Spark boys.
Definitely, indeed, and Panda putting in another goal. Beautiful finish from him, and he likes these mechanical plays. He likes these aerials. A brilliant setup from his teammate, and a nice little dinkity donk into the back of the net. It's 14 seconds remaining. This game is all but over. Nezuko gang going to go up 2-1 in this series unless there is a miracle for the Spark side. It does not look like there's going to be, as Minty goes for that double touch, almost bouncing in. And I mean, Blue Wolf, what does Spark need to do to stop the reign of terror that Nezuko gang's going on?
I guess the real problem is that if you're looking offense to offense, Dispatcho is really quieting down since what he was in game 1, where he was just an absolute terror to their defense. He's unable to score in this game. Or no, he did score in this game. He scored the opener. But he didn't really provide as much offensively. And it feels like going forward, Nezuko gang, they have two outlets in Minty and Panda, whereas it feels like Spark, they just sort of have one in Dispatcho. Eevee's more of a passing player. He tends to set up Dispatcho a lot, but he doesn't seem to be able to grab that many goals himself. Axel seems to be more of a defensive man, but he has found a few goals where I don't think he almost was expected to. So at the moment, I think Spark, they really need to bring in those two players into the offense, and Dispatcho needs to start hitting shots again.
Yeah, 100%. I could not agree more. When this Spark side really thriving, and when Dispatcho is slotting the balls in, is when Eevee seems to be that playmaker. You know, you mentioned it, I think, in game 1. Eevee definitely likes to play forward and set things up for his team. But, 162 points, 0 assists. This is very uncharacteristic. And Nezuko gang, they just seem to have the number of Spark right now. Spark really need to have a bit of a chat in between these games in order to bounce back here with Nezuko gang. This series may be over before it's even started.
I guess the problem with Spark is you just can't get demoralized. You've lost to this team before. You can't lose again. They might just think, oh, this is just like the last game. But it's not. It's the grand final. Anything can happen. Underdogs, they win in the grand finals all the time, and that could be Spark here in the next 30 minutes or so, as they are currently down in the series only by 1 game, and they still have plenty of time to remedy this, as we are live into game number 4.
Indeed. There's Dispatcho trying to get a bit of a save, as Wizzy Panda doing a really good job of making it uncomfortable for Spark to get away from their defensive line. Shot does come in, however, it is blocked, and now the ball flying into Nezuko gang's half, but Pyro is waiting. However, Dispatcho reads Pyro's touch really, really well. Eevee, though, last man right now, does take an awkward touch, allowing Minty to have a shot, and it's just wide, fortunately, for the Spark side. But the goal scoreline still 0-0. Is Minty putting the pressure on. Nezuko gang trying to follow it up and keep their momentum going. And Blue, I'm a big believer of, first goal is going to really provide the momentum shift, especially as it comes to the mid to late way of the series. Do you think if Spark can get a goal, will they be able to hold on to it?
I mean, I was going to say I have to disagree with you, but at the same, what you said at the end, I've changed my mind. Spark, they've scored the opening goal in I think 2 out of 3 games. It might actually have been all 3. Have they held on to it? Not really. Every single time they've just been pegged back. And I think if we see a change up, if Nezuko gang score the opening goal here, we might be seeing a different story. But I feel like if Spark score, Nezuko gang, they'll just have that faith in themselves that they know they'll be able to peg it back. But it is actually Nezuko gang who opened the scoring. Minty with the shot seemed like a bit of an offensive double commit, but it doesn't matter in the end. Panda, fake side, provides a screen for Minty to pick out that top left corner.
Really beautiful play coming out of Nezuko gang, and so I'm going to flip my question on its head. Do you think Nezuko gang has the ability to hold on to this lead?
I think they have the ability to. I guess the question really just comes down to Dispatcho and Eevee. Can they get that offensive partnership working? If they can, I think there's no hope for Nezuko to hold on to this. But if they can't, Nezuko, they might just be able to keep this one going. It feels like both teams have a lot of stuff going for them offensively, but we're kind of seeing slightly lower scoring games, which I find a little bit surprising.
I completely agree. You know, all the games that Spark have been involved in, it just seems to be a score fest. As Evie has an opportunity here to score something, but Pyro gets a brilliant touch indeed. As we see now, Minty trying to pull a bit of a counter-attack. He does demo Dispatcho for his efforts. It's going to give Nezuko Gang a little bit of room to breathe on defense. However, still, the peppering, the relentlessness coming out of Spark is making it so difficult for them to break out of their net. But Minty does have an opportunity here. Eve, though, once again, controlling that midfield. And we were saying he needs to be the one that really steps up. But increasingly quiet as the Nezuko Gang have finally broken out of their attacking grasp that Spark held over them. Let's see what Nezuko Gang can do. They are 1-0 up in this game, 2-1 up in the series. So anything, right now, Spark really need to capitalize on their opportunities. Nezuko Gang, though, holding them off with all of their might.
That's what they have to do if they want to win this grand final. It doesn't matter if you win 10-0 or if you win 1-0. And 1-0 looks like it's going to be the score at the moment. That was a good chance. Goes begging. Panda brilliantly takes it past Evie, who's not having a great day. Here's Minty, takes over, goes for the double touch, flicks it towards Pyro, unable to find the final one. That would have been a great passing play, but it worked out instead. Evie's going for a solo play through the air. Teammate goes on the ground, tries to help him. Dispatcho's shot is well over and to the left of the net, and Panda able to take that one down. Evie's flick ins, cross the box, but Pyro's able to clear. Do you think this period of pressure will end with Nezuko scoring a goal, or maybe just holding this one out to the time, or do you think Spark will be able to break the line here?
I'd be very, very surprised to see if there isn't another goal in this game. But with the way it's playing, it's so back and forth. Both these teams not giving an inch to either their sides. It could well go the whole distance with just one goal. But Spark will be definitely looking to put the pressure on right now as Axel comes dropping down from the heavens, almost getting a touch to go forward. However, he does not do so, leaving Eve with just a bit of an awkward positioning. Does get the touch away before he gets demoed. Ball flying off the backboard. Minty there puts a shot on. Eve comes off respawn to get the save. Brilliant job from him as Pyro once again is there as that third man, keeping the ball in the half of Spark. And it's a bit unusual to see Spark so, I wouldn't say complacent, but so trapped in their own half. Usually they're the ones doing the entrapment, but Nezuko Gang making it look possible. As Axel has an opportunity here, but Minty just too quick, and still this 1-0 lead stands.
Well, Spark have been put in a Nezuko Gang built prison. They've been stuck there, and with 20 seconds in the clock, they look like they might be held in this game. Dispatcho with the unintentional flick on leaves Evie the only man back, as Panda, if he takes it around him, things could get defensively awkward. He doesn't. Here comes Pyro in the air, ball just over the crossbar, no one to follow that in. But every second it's up that end of the pitch is 1 second less they have to defend, and with just one on the clock, Pyro, he probably shouldn't have hit that. Could have just let that one run out. Instead, he hits it. It does hit the ground. And Nezuko Gang, they find yet another game win.
Yeah, and they are now up 3-1 in this best of 7. They only need one more win to be the champions of the Challenger League. Spark, they've got to find something. They've got to find an opening. I know that they won't be happy with the way that they're performing right now. I know they believe they're better than this side. They can beat this side, and they've shown the capabilities of doing so. But Nezuko Gang, they just have the answers to everything that they're doing. And so I don't really know what to say about Spark. I don't know how they need to change up to match what Nezuko Gang, or to beat Nezuko Gang.
Yeah, it's got to be very, very frustrating. It's a little bit of failure to launch here in the grand final. Game 1 looks so promising, but ever since then, Spark, they've just not been on the same level as Nezuko Gang. They've just been able to find shot after shot, goal after goal, save after save. 7 total saves in that game from just 7 shots on the Spark side. They only needed 3 shots in Nezuko Gang to win that game. Minty with the only goal of that one. And I just can't wait to get into game number 5. Will we see a turnaround? Or do you think the Nezuko Gang, they're on cruise control now and they'll be just sliding up to pick up that trophy and the grand final victory?
And it's always nice to be in this position if you are Nezuko gang, but they must not become complacent. Otherwise, the Spark will punish them. Panda, not with the best of kickoffs, but is able to get there just in time to mitigate Eevee's advantage. Pyro putting pressure on, does get a demo onto Axel. Dispatcher, who's gone up early off that clearance, almost redirects it beautifully. However, not able to angle his card well enough as Minty now putting the pressure on. Oh, I thought that was going. I did not see Dispatcho there whatsoever. Pyro, though, keeping the pressure up. Eevee linking with Dispatcho. Finally, we've seen the communication, the link between these two, but Minty just denying it. Yeah, he's been quiet on attack, but he has been loud on that defense.
It's almost like him and Pyro have switched accounts, just for a bit of banter in the grand final, because Minty's doing everything on defense and Pyro's been pretty solid on attack. It's going to be Panda the one to try and make a save there. Doesn't get it. Eevee trying to lead in the attack. He set up his teammate. Dispatcho unable to find that one in. And Axel will look to recenter. That will land not quite well enough for him. It was technically a shot. Wasn't going to challenge the net any day of the week. And at the moment, Spark, they seem to have hemmed in the Nezuko gang into their own box, which is something I don't think we've said that often in the series.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And these games, these two teams are so evenly matched. And I feel like it could go either way. But as I'm talking, Pyro causing explosions once again, able to put a goal in. And, he was being quiet. He was quiet in the first series. He was quiet in the first game. But ever since he's woken up, he has decided to put his team on his shoulders and get a goal. Brilliant job from him. And Minty, though, getting away with the kickoff. That kickoff win is going to be huge, but it does give Eevee an opportunity to put the ball forward. Pyro does get a touch on his backboard. Axe and Dispatcher are both up. A bit of a double commit. So now Nezuko gang looking to maybe get a clearance. A nice bit of a pinch from Panda is going to give him opportunity to maybe put a shot in, and he does so. Nezuko gang, they look too strong. They looked way too composed.
There was like two moments there. One when Eevee went for the ball, the second one when Dispatcho went for it. It looked like the danger had passed, but Panda with the edge of his wheel, he just about nicks that ball and puts it in the net. And once again, it's a 2-goal advantage for the Nezuko gang. They've just found this game too easy so far. The attacks have come in from Spark, but they've just left themselves a little bit too open on the defense, and both these goals have been hit into empty nets.
Yeah, and they're just Spark not finding those empty nets, and that has been the bane of their existence as Woozy Panda puts another goal in. His 2 for 2 right now. Unbelievable. Minty, he hasn't even passed 85 points yet. Nobody else, nobody on Spark, nor is Minty past 100 points. But Panda and Pyro are suddenly over 200 points already. They are popping off these two, linking so incredibly well. Spark really need to find some edge. They really need to do something magic, whether that's going to be a bit of a solo play to build up their confidence or something. And as I'm talking, Blue Balls, I need to shut up, because every single time I talk, something happens.
It feels like you've been doing colour casting every single time someone's put the ball into the net, and that trend has repeated itself as Axel gets his team on the board. Could he be the man to pull his side kicking and screaming through this game? At the moment, Nezuko gang looking like they've got one hand firmly placed on that trophy. It's Axel's back there defensively as well. 2.5 minutes on the clock. They'll take some solace in the fact that they have plenty of time to find the 2 goals they need here.
It is plenty of time indeed. Dispatcher, though, having to get a bit of an awkward touch away from his net. Pyro is there, putting some pressure on once again. Axel pops it nice and high. A little bit over Panda, and Minty is going to give him pressure to put back on to the Nezuko gang side. The shot did come in from Eevee, but Pyro coming in clutch with that save. And now once again, the rotations from the Spark side just a little bit off. Minty not able to get either of the boosts, and Pyro with another shot, but Axel with a clutch save. Can that save turn it into a bit of a momentum shift? Only time will tell, as a passing play between Dispatcher and Eevee does unfortunately lead to nothing. Panda has plenty of space to work with, but not that amount of booster. As we see Minty now putting a shot on, a little bit of a dink. Eevee, though, easy save for him. However, not the best of touches as Axel gets a nice demo onto Minty. He's going to open up a little bit of space for a counter-attack here. However, Axel not with the touches that he wants. He's just putting himself in awkward positions, and these clearances from the Spark side aren't strong enough whatsoever. However, the Nezuko gang, they're really making dividends with every touch they make.
Yeah, the question is can Axel pull his team through? He made another clutch save as you were casting there, and Evie had an open net miss. He was just not expecting that ball at all. It hits him and ends up going away from the net. As at the moment, the Nezuko gang, they look like they're going to win this. They need to be a big, massive offensive change here from the Spark side if they want to win. Instead, it's Minty with a shot. Just flashes wide of the post. Here comes the follow through. It doesn't actually land perfectly. The 50 is won by Spark. That's a shot into what would have been an empty net if it wasn't for Minty, who was able to stop that one going through. Evie looking for the air dribble, misses it. And Pyro with that double touch into the ground ends up getting hit away by Dispatchio. Panda angles that towards his teammate Pyro, unable to get the flick on touch there. That could have spelled good night for the hopes of Spark. But you know what might spell the end of their hopes is the time. 35 seconds on the clock. It is do or die.
Yeah, Spark needs to go huge now. They need a goal within the next couple of seconds, but Minty has caused an explosion in one of their cars. 20 seconds remaining. Evie, this attack, they have to get a goal here. They have to do something with it. Pyro, though, comes away with the ball in that midfield, puts it down forward. Axel misses his flip touch, and it's 10 seconds remaining. This is good night to Spark, and hello to Nezuko gang, who are your 2021 Season 6 RSC Challenger champions.
Well, you can't say it's not deserved. Game 1 was an aberration. Ever since then, complete dominance. They didn't stop for a single second. Nezuko gang, truly the dominant side. And I think if you're Spark, you've got to be kicking yourself a little bit. Evie and Dispatchio, they didn't really show up to the level we expected after that Game 1.
Well, I completely agree. We expected them to be swinging with all their fists, kicking with all their ankles. However, they showed that against Astro. They showed that in the first 2 games of the best of 5 when they first met. However, they just were non-existent in that grand final. Whether it was nerves, whether it was fatigue, I don't know. But Nezuko gang, well deserved indeed. Brilliant showing from the players on your screen. That is Minty, Woozy Panda, Pyro, Nazi. That is Nezuko gang for the Waifu Fan Club franchise, and the GM is the one and only Mr. Archeon. And I know that we are going to try and get a bit of an interview with the players and the big man himself, who has joined us in the stream, in the chat already, and the players are coming in one by one. Gentlemen, welcome and congratulations to your victory.
Thank you again.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks all.
Awesome stuff. How are you guys feeling? I mean, I'm going to chuck it over to you first, Minty. How are you feeling after that performance in your playoffs?
Pretty good, I could say. I mean, I was lagging the whole time, but we won. So, yeah. I felt pretty good. My heart is still beating.
I mean, lag is never a nice thing whatsoever, but something that wasn't lagging was Panda. Panda, you popped off, and I'd like to cast my mind back. I was messaging you during the breaker. You had some incredible shots indeed, and particularly that aerial bump. The aerial bump goal that you scored. How is it to score a goal like that in your playoff run?
I mean, it felt really good, especially since that secured us the reverse sweep as well, and plus it was on dispatch. I'd like to just shout out the minor team for scrimming us before the playoff started, and also Wolfie, Skies, and Sky. They also scrimmed us. So thanks to all those guys, and especially Bolt. Bolt is a god.
Bolt is definitely a meta player indeed, but someone who also is defining meta is your GM and Pyro. There were rumors on the grapevine that in your winners final, after you went down 2-0, the big man himself jumped into your VC. Is this true? And if so, what did he say to you guys?
Wow. Okay, so basically he jumped in and he gave us a small pep talk, and he said he had confidence that we could win as long as we kept up pressure, and he also told me to stop hesitating as much on defense, and he also told us to distance ourselves from each other so that we could cover more ground, and once we started doing that, well, you saw the result.
It definitely, I mean, you got that reverse sweep, and it is unbelievably incredible. I'm going to hand over to the Blue Wolf himself. Fire away.
Oh, right. I've got the microphone in my hands on the stage. There's confetti coming down. And
Literally.
yeah, were you expecting it to be, after game one, were you expecting to go on and do the reverse sweep and just win 4 games in a row? Or did you think that maybe Spark would have given you a bit more of a challenge, a bit more of a go around Minty? Or did you think that you always had it in you that you would definitely win this game?
Well, we knew that we had the advantage coming into it, and I would be a bit nervous since we had 2 lives and I had 1 live, and we'd already beaten them before with a reverse sweep. So that must have dropped their mentality. But after game 1, we had to restart the server, talked a little bit, and was like, I hope my ping's gone. And then it just all came together, and we went on a 4-game winning streak to win it.
Yeah, it was a great performance by all of the players. I want to mention Pyro a little bit because you scored a lot of goals where it was you sort of breaking away and putting the ball into empty nets. How did you think you found yourself in those positions, and how did you really exploit the defense to let you get so many tap-in goals?
Oh, that's a good question, to be fair. I think it's mainly me being able to trust Ujkan and Minty to get the ball up. But if I'm honest, most of the time, it was just after I got a touch or a 50 on the ball, and I was just rotating up a little bit, so to give myself some space, give my teammates some space, and maybe pick up a few boost pads, and then the ball just came over to me, and I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's mine.
Yeah, I want to take you back, Panda. My third and final question. Take you back to before the game. You know, you've beaten this team before, Spark. Did you feel like you had it in you to beat them again? Did you think you had had the advantage mentally, or did you think, right, this is going to be a real challenge? Did you have that faith in yourselves?
Well, I mean, we always had the faith that we would win, but like we knew it would not be easy because obviously they're like a really good team. Like all 3 of them, they work well together. We were just confident after the reverse sweep, especially. We've been playing well the whole day as well, and the whole season as well. So it just felt very good. No doubt, really.
That is fab to hear that you've got confidence in each other and you play so well as a team. But there's somebody else in this VC, in this interview, who we haven't spoken to. And just quickly, before we do ask him some questions, this man has been putting an unbelievable shift in throughout this whole season. And a lot of credit to the expansion and growth of RSC lies in his hands. So if you are at home, do give him a bit of a clap. This is Archeon, who is the GM for Waifu Fan Club, as well as running the RSC, doing incredible job. And Archeon, how are you feeling about your boys winning that grand final?
Well, as you know, I've been doing the graphics in the background throughout the stream, so I'm sweating a bit after watching the gameplay as well. The only time I really had to step in was when they went 2-0 down. I just reminding them that they were good enough, and they were just having a bit of lapses in triple commits, double commits, and they just needed to space themselves out the field. Remember that all they needed to do was take Eevee out of the game because he was their talisman. He was setting up everything that they were doing, and it was just making it awkward for them in defence. But honestly, I've got to give a huge credit to Pyro. We obviously know Minty and Ujkan have been like top 2 for player of the season. However, Pyro has kind of had to adjust his game to compensate for these 2. He's normally an attacking player, and he's offered to sit back in defence and let them vibe throughout the season. I'm really proud of all 3 of them, and Nazi as well for being the sub. He's only played the minimum games, but he's been there when we needed them. But yeah, credit to Sato for drafting these 3. Honestly, I just had to let them do what they wanted throughout the season. Tonight was the only really time I had to jump in and remind them how good they were. But yeah, I'm pleased. I've not enjoyed playing this season personally, but GMing has been fantastic.
That's really good to hear. It's really good to hear how close you are as a unit, indeed. And Blue Wolf, if you've got any more questions before I ask the age-old question.
Oh no, I'm too scared. I can't talk to my own boss.
Well, I mean, you guys know what's coming, so start thinking. Archeon, I'm going to come to you first. Throughout these playoffs in your team, what has been your highlight?
tonight.
Apart from, I mean, I'm talking about the Challenger playoffs. Apart from lifting that trophy, what was the highlight for you?
I mean, it was obviously going 2-0 down and then coming back to 3-2. There's no better feeling than that, especially when I had a little bit of a say in it as well. Not to blow my own trumpet, but it happened. We reverse swept and we've gone on to the final was close in the first 3 games, but I think in the final game it was just we were dominant and it was really fun to watch. Especially seeing as I'm working in the background as well. So,
Definitely. And over to you, Minty. What about yourself? What was your highlight?
The game we went 3-0 down in, I think it was the winners' final against Spark. The
That
game we
game
went
was sick.
3-0 down in and then came back to win 4-3 to keep the reverse sweep alive.
Minty
That was
stealing
my
the
highlight.
highlight.
Yeah.
I love that. That's brilliant. That's a very good highlight indeed. Pyro?
Honestly, I agree with Minty. That was a really nice game. But in the finals, after I ate food, yeah, I think right there that was the pinnacle of like what our team could do when it came to pressure, speed, and everything. It was a blast to play.
That's really good to hear. I mean, definitely food is a necessity, and I hope you do get a little bit more nosh in you
Yeah,
next next season when we see you in the grand
Yeah.
finals next season.
definitely.
And Panda, Mr. Ujkan himself. What about yourself? What was your highlight?
Well, since they stole mine, I have to go with the air one because it felt, well, air dribble. I say it wasn't much of an air dribble, but the bump because it felt like so relieving. We finally, that was like the goal that sealed the reverse sweep pretty much, and it was on dispatch as well.
Yeah, you can't beat flipping dispatcher, and getting a climp in the playoffs is always extremely satisfying. And guys, thank you very much for joining us in this casting booth with a little bit of an interview, talking to your plentiful fans out there after you won the grand finals. Once again, a massive congrats to your performance throughout this whole season. And you guys to the chat, the Nezuko gang, the team right here, they are your Challenger Season 6 champions. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers. Can I just shout out the minor boys as well and give them good luck for tomorrow? Don't forget to tune into minor playoffs tomorrow.
Yes, guys. Well, guys, that has been it for the Challenger Playoffs. Blue Wolf, have you got any final words you want to drop in here before we close out?
Nezuko are just too strong, really. Isn't that it, really?
Nezuko definitely, challenging, channeling the waifu fan club energy to get that victory. It's beautiful indeed to watch. But guys, thank you very much to everyone tuning into this stream this evening. It has been an absolute blast. And remember, tomorrow the minor playoffs. So do tune into that. That is 5 p.m. CST, so Central European Standard Time. So guys, tune in then. You'll see me on the screen with Pedro, Mr. Shabby Shao, and also Fane will be there. Vector, Last of the Wild will all be casting these games. Some brilliant games ahead of us indeed. So guys, please tune in tomorrow. My name has been Hops. I've been joined by Blue Wolf on the casting desk, along with Senji in the producer role. I'd also like to thank you everyone behind the scenes and doing incredible work indeed. Go follow us on Twitter at RSC_EU on there. RSCEU.co.uk is our website. And guys, if you know anyone who likes Rocket League, who wants to get a bit more competitive, get them involved in the RSC. We welcome everyone and anyone. Remember, sign-ups start on Monday for the season ahead. So guys, thank you very much for joining us. Have a good rest of your evening. We'll see you tomorrow for the minor playoffs. Thank you very much. Good night.